Milwaukee Torrent soccer is back! Woo!
This is going to be more fun than the time we opened up the portal in the space-time continuum to play some socially distant soccer.
By the hand of Maradona.
Yeah, good times.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey!
What's up, Coach?
What are you doing here? The game doesn't start for 4 hours.
We know, but the Torrent party starts right now.
It's now time to meet our first Olympics, beginning with the away side, the Lions. Number 25, Peter Fischer. Number 2, Ashley Goodman. Number 4, Tiffany Mites. Number 8, Victoria Maparos. Number 9, Andy Schwartz. Number 10, Jen Husband. Number 14, Julia Ralph. Number 13, Randy Lasilla. Number 18, Brady Casey. Number 20, Sarah Brewing. And number 27, Sylvia Sadinas. Chicago Red Line SC managed by Camille Verla Honda. And now, make good together. Let's meet the first entrepreneur at City Milwaukee Torrent. Number 31, Lily Swinson. Number 51, Maddie McClellan. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And now, to honor America and all that it stands for, as well as our freedom and those who serve to protect it, the playing of our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this Women's Premier Soccer League match here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. My name is Simon Provan, and we are happy to just about get this match underway. A big game today as FC Milwaukee Torrent hosts Chicago Dutch Lions. This game does possibly have playoff implications. If we look at the standings in the WPSL Great Lakes Conference, you will see that while neither of these teams are on top, Milwaukee Torrent very close to it. Team on top in the standings, Chicago Red Stars Reserves. After 8 games played, they are in first place with 17 points. Just underneath them with 15 points, also on 8 games played, Milwaukee Bavarian SC, 4 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws. One of their big wins, however, is a win over Chicago Red Stars Reserves. And sitting at number 3 on 14 points, 1 point behind Milwaukee Bavarian, are FC Milwaukee Torrent. 8 games played, 4 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. One of those draws was a 1-1 affair with Chicago Red Stars Reserves. The other draw was against Milwaukee Bavarian here at Hart Park. And one of those losses, however, for the Torrent was also against Milwaukee Bavarian SC. That was a 2-0 loss at Bavarian Field. Just underneath the Torrent sits Chicago Dutch Lions, who unfortunately will not be able to make it to the top of the standings in the Lake Michigan Conference, which means tonight they are playing for pride and, of course, to possibly be a spoiler, as Chicago Dutch Lions, a good team after 8 games played, sitting on 12 points, 3 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws. And you may think, well, why am I saying that that is a good team? They're an expansion team this year. For an expansion team to come out and really challenge most of the season and continue to challenge, as they also had a draw against Chicago Red Stars Reserves, a 1-1 draw at that in their last match. Underneath Dutch Lions in 5th place is Chicago City SC. 1 win, 4 losses, 3 draws. And in last place, sitting in 6th, Green Bay Glory after 8 games played. No wins on the year, 7 losses, 1 draw. Good enough for 1 point. So Milwaukee Torrent is still in this. As I said, they are sitting on 14 points. Depending on how other results play out, the Torrent are still in the running to try to clinch that playoff spot. Only 1 team from each conference going to the playoffs. And again, right now, that is Chicago Red Stars Reserves. 17 points after 8 games played. First kick here in the match that is on hand for you tonight. Very rainy day earlier today. We'll see how that affects the surface of this pitch. It is an artificial surface that tends to play fast already the way it is. Milwaukee already with an opportunity here. Shot with the outside of the foot. Nice save by Mika Fisher, starting goalkeeper for Chicago Dutch Lions. Let's give you the rest of those starters for the Chicago Dutch Lions as I keep an eye on play on the field, playing with a 4-4-2 today. Your starters for Chicago Dutch Lions: number 2, Abby Hillman, playing in defense. Number 4, give me 1 second here as we do have an adjustment on the name. I will get you that in just a second. We'll continue on, though. Number 8, Victoria Caparros, playing in midfield. At forward, number 9, Abby Schwartz. Number 10, Jenna Lundgren, also playing in midfield. Back in defense, number 14, Julia Ralph. Eve Mintz, number 18, as a defender. Number 15, M.J. Lasilla, playing in midfield. Number 20, Sarah Verling. As I mentioned, 25, Mika Fisher, playing back at goal as she grabs that ball. No problem there. Number 27, Sophia Sinise at forward. And again, give me just a minute here, and I will get you the name for number 4 today. Number 4 is actually Eve Mines, not number 18. Number 18, Ruby Hasty. My apologies for the wrong names there, but now we have them straightened out, and we can call them correctly for the rest of the game. Very early on here at Hart Park, third minute, game is 0-0, but Torrent pressing for a goal as they've applied pressure early on the Dutch Lions back line. Your starters for Milwaukee. Number 4 on the ball right now, Jordan Rowley. Opportunity here for Milwaukee, but no trouble at all for the Dutch Lions defense as that ball is wide and well over the goal. So as I said, number 4, Jordan Rowley starting up top. In midfield, number 5, Aaron Johnston. Liz Beckers, number 6. Number 11, back in defense, Shannon McWilliams, along with her fellow defender, number 13, Bonnie Lacey. Kenzie Balseric getting the start today in midfield, wearing number 21. Team captain, defender, Kelly Swenson, wearing number 31. Elsie Twombly also starting up top, along with Raleigh. Those two make quite a combination for the front two for Milwaukee. Dutch Lions now trying to get onto this ball. Instead, Kelly Swenson has other plans and sends it out of bounds for a Dutch Lions throw-in. Yelena Sever is your final starter to announce, wearing number 3. Swenson sending this ball upfield to Raleigh. Ball kicked out of bounds by Eve Mines. On the ball for Milwaukee is Twombly. Plays it out to her right. Balseric. Balseric looking for space, sends it back. Dutch Lions looking to move this ball downfield for their first opportunity. Verling. Swenson doing what she does best, making sure Dutch Lions don't cause much trouble, if any, for the Torrent defense. Hillman with the throw. Swenson with another strong play on the ball, but Hillman able to win it. Sends it back. Some nice patient play here from Chicago. Hillman on the ball once again. Eventually sent out of bounds for a Dutch Lions throw-in. Hillman with the throw. Ball at the top of the box. A little bit of miscommunication there from Saver and Swenson. Ball played all the way back to midfield. Ralph sends it to her left to Hasty. Hasty on the ball, bringing this inside the Milwaukee final third. But instead, Johnston able to win it. Plays it forward, but eventually goes out of bounds as Twombly not able to take that ball forward. Hasty all the way back to her goalkeeper. Pressure being applied by Rowley. Ball goes all the way forward. This is onside for Chicago Dutch Lions. Lundgren into the Milwaukee box. Looks to shoot with her right foot, wins it back. Swenson sticks her foot in, but only as far as Lundgren can send it back into the box. Nice shot on goal for Chicago Dutch Lions. Surprising the FC Milwaukee Torrent defense in the 8th minute of play. Abby Schwartz making that run forward, wearing number 9 today, putting that in the back of the net. McClenathan, nice shot here from midfield off the kickoff. Why not? Give it a shot. McClenathan, not much that she could do on that goal. Well-played ball into the box. First from Lundgren, and Schwartz there with the good off-the-ball run, perhaps mismarked by the FC Milwaukee Torrent defense, but nevertheless, well placed with her foot to earn Chicago Dutch Lions with that first goal. 1-0 here in the 9th minute of play. FC Milwaukee Torrent defense finding themselves a bit out of sorts. Ball in the box once again for Chicago Dutch Lions. Played up top. This is Lundgren again. Nice cut to her left, but Swenson able to win that ball. Ball played up to Rowley, where it does go out of bounds before it reaches Rowley's feet. Chicago Dutch Lions not afraid to attack this right side, the near side of the Milwaukee defense. And that goal certainly has awakened the fervor of Chicago Dutch Lions as they look for a second. Ball does go out of bounds, but Chicago remains in control with another throw-in. Hasty with the ball in. FC Milwaukee Torrent defense certainly has their work cut out for them today. Hasty in the box. McClenathan grabs it off the bounce. Goalkeepers are going to have to be careful with that slick surface out there today. Hoping to get this full game in as we had storms come through here earlier today. And there are predictions for storms to arrive once again around 9 o'clock. Head coach Andy Davi for Milwaukee sending his players, his reserves, down the line to do some warm-ups. So we'll see if we see some early substitutions here, as the Dutch Lions, for the most part, have total control of this game. If you're just tuning in, you are watching FC Milwaukee Torrent host Chicago Dutch Lions, a new team in the WPSL this year. Nice move there. Ball played out to Rowley. Rowley looks to send this ball in. Instead, Hillman sends it out of bounds, but that is a corner kick for FC Milwaukee Torrent, their first corner of the game. But the men's team is also in action tonight. Usually we don't have both teams playing at the same time. Obviously, women playing in the WPSL regular season here. But the men playing in the NISA Independent Cup, playing Union Dubuque FC out in Iowa. Last I checked, that game was 5-0 at the half, FC Milwaukee Torrent, with beating Chicago House AC out of NISA Wednesday night 2-0. Well, let's call this first corner played into the box. Nicely played. Ball bouncing around a bit. But Fisher does well to grab that out of the air and quickly sends it out to Caparros. But yes, FC Milwaukee Torrent men in the NISA Independent Cup with beating Chicago House AC the other night. That gave them 3 points in the Midwest region for that cup. And looks like they are well on their way to another 3 points. They do yet have to face Med City FC here at Hart Park on July 27th. We'll check in on the other NISA Independent Cup scores. But Med City FC, a strong team out of the NPSL North, in second place in their table, only to Minneapolis City. Raleigh on the ball. Sends this ball forward. Becker's on the ball, and instead sent out. Referee calling a foul, it looks like, against Bookers. Yves Mink sliding in with the tackle. Mink does well there to win that ball. Looking at the replay, fair call by the referee, as it looked like Bookers had her right arm up on the body of the Dutch Lions player. Now then, Lundgren sending this ball across to Hasty. Hasty sending this all the way up to Schwartz. Nicely played ball here for Chicago once again. Shot on goal just outside to the left of McClenathan. Twombly for Milwaukee. Lacey to Raleigh. Raleigh looking to play this up to Bookers again. Referee calling this a foul as well. That one I am not so sure about. That certainly looked like shoulder to shoulder. And sure enough, on the replay, arm was kept down on that one. That was, in my estimation, purely shoulder to shoulder. But obviously the referee sees it differently. Dutch Lions with an opportunity on goal, just goes past everybody. And eventually goes out of bounds for an FC Milwaukee Torrent throw-in. Lacey on the throw. Hillman on the ball once again for the Dutch Lions. Hillman very busy on this near side. Hillman now called for the foul as Raleigh goes down. Raleigh with a nice step over, still on the ball. Looks to heel it back. Successful at that. Now ball played in. Some trouble for Milwaukee in their attacking third on the field. We'll see if they can get things straightened out, as it does look like head coach Andy Davi is going to make his first substitution for Milwaukee. Chicago again played well there. McClenathan off of her line, sends that one out of bounds. Well done by her as Lundgren looked to cause more trouble for that Torrent defense. Now we'll have our first substitution for Milwaukee. So we are getting a change of numbers here. 17 is Elena Eckert. And another substitution as Natalie Yass comes on, giving Jordan Rowley a break. Rowley checking in with trainer Paige Bourne, as she did take a head knock when she fell to the ground. So they will obviously go through concussion protocol and make sure everything else is okay with Joe Rowley. Important player to this team, one of the leading goal scorers as well. Hillman sending this one back into the Milwaukee box. Not much happening there. In the end, another goal kick for Milwaukee. Bonnie Lacey stopping that ball with her chest. Ball eventually falls to Kelly Swenson. Swenson playing this out to Eckert. Now back to Lacey. Lacey picking her head up, looking for options. As the ball comes back to Lacey, steps just quick enough to make sure Lindgren couldn't get a step on that. Yass plays this ball in the middle, now at midfield. As the ball makes its way back to Yass from Addie Schock. Opportunity here for Milwaukee. Twombly ran in the box, had that one-on-one foot race with Fisher. Twombly able to win that foot race. Trying to chip Fisher. Just not enough power on that ball to go into the Dutch Lions goal. Swenson directing traffic as she moves forward with this ball. Foul called on Lundgren. Nice run there from Kelly Swenson, bringing that ball from the back to just over midfield and a little bit further. Ball sent out of bounds for a Torrent throw-in. A lot of other games in action tonight for the WPSL, including Milwaukee Bavarian SC taking on Green Bay Glory. If you are a Torrent fan, that means tonight you are a Glory fan as well. Of course, their owner, Carrie Geocaris, played in the inaugural season of the women's team here with the Torrent. Loved her experience so much that she decided to start a WPSL team up in Green Bay. So these teams do have a friendly rivalry with each other. At times a bit tense, but for the most part, friendly. Katie Swenson, the sister of Kelly Swenson, coming onto the field for Milwaukee. Katie playing her college ball at UW Whitewater. Kelly did play for UW Milwaukee. Fantastic career there that led to her playing in Europe as well. By the way, taking a break for Milwaukee, it was Balsaric. Ball headed backwards, almost an own goal as it goes off the post. Milwaukee Torrent corner kick. 23rd minute of play. 1-0 here at Hart Park in favor of the guests, Chicago Dutch Lions. Natalie Ass lining up for this corner. McWilliams running in from the back, playing the far post. Unfortunately, a wasted corner as it goes directly out of bounds for a Chicago Dutch Lions goal kick. Once again, ball sent forward. A foot race here for Swenson. That looks like she will win, and she certainly does. Plays that back to McClenathan, who plays it right back to the outside to Swenson. Another miscommunication here from the Torrent defense. They have got to get this sorted out if they want to be able to equalize this game. Swenson trying to play that to Lacey, but instead goes right to Sinise. Now to Hasty on the left side of the box. Hasty still on the ball. Hasty with a right-footed shot. McClenathan gets enough on that to send it out. Katie Swenson with the ball forward. Can Torrent make something happen here? Quick answer is no, as this ball is played all the way back to Fisher of the Dutch Lions. Hillman to Verling. Verling tries to play that forward, but instead, Torrent gained possession. Yes, in the middle of the field. Ball at Twombly's feet. Twombly looking to play this outside to Johnston. Johnston now sends this in. This is better from the Torrent. Sever on the ball. Not a great shot on goal, but much better build-up from the entire Torrent team. A little bit more patient, a little more precise with their passing. That is exactly what they need in order to try to bring this game to even. Oh, we talked about how the Dutch Lions in their last game, they drew with Chicago Red Stars 1-1. The exact same result for FC Milwaukee Torrent now on the move here. Moving forward with a shot on goal. Just wide. Did the goalkeeper get a touch? No, she did not. That was Elena Eckert with the run on goal. Unfortunately, not able to convert it. But again, more pressure, better passing from FC Milwaukee Torrent. A little bit more belief in themselves is starting to be evident here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. 27th minute of play, Dutch Lions 1, Torrent 0. Well, Milwaukee Torrent had the same result against the Red Stars, which was also their last game. 1-1. Torrent went up early in that game, 1-0. Unfortunately, not able to hold that. That would have been a critical 3 points, as they would have been tied with the Red Stars for first in the conference. Instead, Torrent having to play behind and hoping the results go their way in other games. Yes, for Milwaukee. Not able to connect that pass as Dutch Lions now will make some substitutions. Defender Allie Anderson coming in for Chicago, as well as Catherine Steffens. Taking a break is number 15, MJ Lasilla. And we'll see when Chicago elects to make their second substitution. Again, that will be Catherine Steffens. That substitution looks like it is happening now, yes. So Steffens going up top. Sinise going back in midfield. And taking a break is number 8, Victoria Caparros. Anderson gets in the game, immediately takes a touch. Ball all the way out to Hasty now. A bit misplayed there from McWilliams. Eventually recovers, but ball does go out of bounds. Another substitution here, this time for FC Milwaukee Torrent. Actually, Andy Davi wants to hold off on it. No, we will have the substitution. Toscano coming on. Andy Davi wanted to get fresh legs in there. And coming off the field is Aaron Johnston. Hasty for Chicago. In the corner of play. Looking for some space. Instead, ball goes out of bounds for a corner kick for the Dutch Lions. Sophie Toscano, who just came in for Milwaukee, plays her college ball at UW Parkside down in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Substitutions for Chicago coming on are number 29, Alexa Juarez, and number 6, Chesney Wargo. Coming off is number 9 and number 10. Number 9 being Abby Schwartz, number 10, Jenna Lundgren. Shot from Hasty. Goes over the crossbar. Lundgren, an incredible first 30 minutes for her, as she gave a lot of trouble to that Milwaukee Torrent backline. Now coming on for Milwaukee. Substitutions at quite a fast pace here today. Abby Kloiber, number 2. As she gives Bonnie Lacey a break, defender for defender substitution. You know, I had mentioned earlier that had Milwaukee held on to that win over Chicago, they'd be tied. But actually, Milwaukee would have been in first place all alone with the Red Stars. If I'm doing the math right, which, folks, I was not a math major, Chicago would have been tied for second with Milwaukee Bavarian SC. But enough about of the what-ifs and the shoulda, coulda, woulda. What needs to happen is the Torrent need to win tonight to go to 17 points and let the other teams handle their own games. Again, Bavarian SC playing Green Bay Glory tonight. I do not know if we'll get live score updates in that game. Ball played in the box. Opportunity for Milwaukee. Goal! FC Milwaukee Torrent equalize in the 33rd 33rd minute of play. Kelly Swenson playing a perfect ball into the box. And headed into the goal by, I believe it was Saver. If I'm looking at the right player, I could be wrong though. Natalie Yass actually looks like who it is. Confirmation is it was Saver. Beautifully played. Kelly Swenson with an absolutely perfectly placed ball into the Milwaukee box. Milwaukee now in the box once more. Shot on goal. Fisher bobbles that, but then is able to handle it. Shot from Twombly. But Saver with an absolutely perfectly placed header. Equalizing here again in the 33rd minute of play. Now in the 34th minute. Nice tackle there by Swenson, showcasing why she is the captain for this Torrent team. 1-1 score line at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Very cool night. Though, as a warm front is moving in, unlike most nights, it's actually supposed to warm up as the game goes on tonight. Swenson to Eckert, Eckert to Kloiber. Kloiber to Twombly. Correction, Schock. Schock back to Swenson. This is better also from the Torrent defense, making simple passes, making sure they connect with each other, nothing fancy. Just being patient, trying to work their way out. Yes. Back to Swenson. Kloiber trying to send this forward, but does win it back. As she was in a one-on-one battle with Verling. Now played forward again. Swenson with a beautiful ball over the Dutch line's back line. In the box for Milwaukee. Foul eventually called against L.C. Twombly. Applause for Twombly's effort to get into the box from the Torrent fan base. Hasty having a nice game at left back for Dutch Lions. Ball now in the middle of the field. Again, another well-placed pass here. But Kloiber there, able to race back and stop Verling from making any damage for the Milwaukee defense. Hillman on the throw-in. Chicago Dutch Lions in their first year here in the WPSL, as I've mentioned a few times. Dutch Lions actually have 9 teams throughout the United States, with a team in California and this team you're seeing here tonight being the newest additions to the Dutch Lions national footprint. Brian Sutherland and I had a good chat beforehand. Sutherland, the owner and general manager of the Chicago Dutch Lions, talking about his excitement for this team, some of their aspirations that they have, as well as looking to start up a men's team next year. So some ambition for this Dutch Lions club. Nikhil Erlebach Chanda, their head coach from Germany, just like his counterpart Andy Davi for FC Milwaukee Torrent. Kloiber looking to send this ball forward. as it rolls to Fisher, goalkeeper for Chicago. Dutch Lions playing in the Naperville area. We wish them the best of luck in the future as they continue to grow. Always good to see American clubs growing like they are. Lights on here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. The score is 1-1. We are in the 38th minute of play. FC Milwaukee Torrent looking for a critical 3 points to stay alive in the race for first. Chicago Dutch Lions looking to play the spoiler tonight as they are out of a potential playoff spot. Katie Swenson. Out to McWilliams. Back to Swenson, back to McWilliams. McWilliams looking to send this forward to Yass, but hasty there for Chicago, getting first to the ball. McWilliams needing a second or two. Looks like maybe she got an elbow or something to the face. Didn't see anything on the replay. It must have happened off screen. Obviously nothing malicious from either team. Nobody's complaining about anything. Play on. As, of course, the Torrent does the sporting thing, sending the ball all the way back to Fisher, who then restarts the game. Dutch Lions looking for their second before the half. Kloiber with a nice rundown where the ball eventually goes out of bounds, but it is a FC Milwaukee Torrent throw as Kloiber plays the ball off of the foot of Verling. Ball played in the box. Once again, Swenson with the touch. Yass with another header, but only as far as the 25 or 30 yards out. I have to say, when Milwaukee gets the ball and they're defending third, not always looking very confident. And I think the Dutch Lions may be picking up on that and trying to add a little bit more pressure here in the final 5 minutes of play, at least in regulation of the first half. In case you can't hear what the PA announcer Dan Pfeiffer is saying, well, first let's talk about the substitution that just happened for Chicago Dutch Lions. Coming in is Audrey Steffens at forward, and coming off is Sarah Verling, who lined up as a midfielder, so perhaps from the 4-4-2, Dutch Lions perhaps shifting here to a 4-3-3 again in the final 4.5 minutes or so. FC Milwaukee Torrent men in that NISA Independent Cup. Still up 5-0. That game is in a weather delay. If you tuned into the last game of any FC Milwaukee Torrent match, of course that was the NISA Independent Cup that the men were playing, you may have noticed we had a new addition to the booth. My color man, Brad Kostreva, unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. But if you want to get his thoughts on the game, make sure you tune in to 11sports.com as he's doing some wonderful color commentary in the comment feed. Chicago Dutch Lions once again in the attack. Wargo playing it back to Hasty. Ball back at the feet of Wargo again, who sends it into the box. Kloiber. Sorry, not Kloiber. That was Eckert, who played some fine defense there, getting just enough of that ball off of her head to send it over the goal. But this is a Chicago Dutch Lions corner kick. Hillman back in the game for Chicago. Right at the top of the six, well placed. Dutch Lions not able to do anything with it as Milwaukee looks to expand a bit as they run out from the box. Dutch Lions in so much control when they're in this part of the field. Ball with a shot and another goal for Chicago in the 44th minute of play. You just felt that one coming. As I had just mentioned, Chicago doing so well in their final attacking third. Torrent struggling back defensively. And Chicago once again able to pay dividends with the pressure that they were applying with another goal on the night. So now Chicago Dutch Lions up 2-1. And we've got just about 30 seconds left of regulation. Seeking clarification on that goal as it wasn't obvious from here in the booth. It looks like it was Abby Hillman. Absolutely want to make sure I give credit to the goal scorer. Hillman again in the right place. Feeling that she had an opportunity there, taking it with her right foot and absolutely buried it into the back of the net. Chicago once again. Referee says play on, calls advantage, or feels there wasn't a foul. Chicago again with pressure on Milwaukee. Katie Swenson, the hero on that play as she sends it out of bounds. We are about 50 seconds into stoppage time. We have not been given any indication by the fourth official, so we will have to wait and see when this half comes to an end. Play continues here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. A minute and a half into stoppage time. Again, we have not been given any indication of how much stoppage there is. But what we do know is that Chicago Dutch Lions are up 2-1 over FC Milwaukee Torrent. Ball into the box, quickly headed out. Saver. Yes, looking to play this up. Interesting to note here that we are coming to the end of the first half. And even off of that corner, or off of that free kick when Milwaukee gained possession, you still only saw one forward up for Milwaukee and very little urgency from these Torrent players. And, of course, just as I say this, ball played in the box for Milwaukee. Headed off of the post. Opportunity from Saver just a little bit lower, and that goes in the back of the net. And that will be the end of the first half. 2.5 minutes of stoppage is what we saw. A disappointed head coach in Andy Davi. On the other side, Nikhil Erlebach-Chanda, of course, very happy for his Chicago Dutch Lions. But I'll tell you what, folks, it is halftime. We will take a break. I'll give you some thoughts on the other side of that break. But for now, it's time for some water. It's time for us to take a big breather and see what adjustments we might see for FC Milwaukee Torrent. See you on the other side of this break. Welcome back to the broadcast of FC Milwaukee Torrent hosting Chicago Dutch Lions. It is halftime here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Thankfully, the rain has held off here in the first half. Hopefully it holds off in the second half. Dutch Lions up 2-1 at the half. It was a surprise first goal for Chicago Dutch Lions, however, as Milwaukee was having most of the run of play. At least in the first couple minutes, maybe 3 minutes, it looked like the Torrent was going to perhaps have an easy night as they were pushing towards the box of Chicago Dutch Lions. However, after those first 3-4 minutes, it got to be a bit more of an even game, and then Chicago really took over in the 8th minute as Abby Schwartz received the ball in the Torrent box, played it past the Torrent goalkeeper to go up 1-0. Things looked brighter for Milwaukee as in the 33rd minute. Kelly Swenson with a beautiful ball all the way from midfield into the Torrent box. Into the Dutch Lions box off of a free kick where it found the head of Elsie Twombly. Twombly playing it perfectly off her head, putting it into the net of Chicago Dutch Lions. But the Dutch Lions would come right back in the 44th minute. Beautifully played ball from Hillman all the way to Wargo. Wargo left all alone on the far side of the Torrent box and put that ball in the back of the net to make things 2-1 here again at Hart Park. We'll see what happens in the second half. I do expect Andy Davi, head coach of the Milwaukee Torrent, to ask his defense to be more precise in the back. Their passing has been askew at times, as well as many times having some issues of miscommunication. So I know the defense will want to obviously tighten things up in the back, but going forward as well, not a lot of balls worked through the middle, and when the Torrent had an opportunity to go forward, they were only going forward with 1 or 2 players. One of the testaments of this Milwaukee Torrent team is how they've committed to basically a lot of total football, as ironically the Dutch would call it. So we need to see more of that from FC Milwaukee Torrent in the second half. As far as the Dutch Lions, you can't ask for many adjustments because anything they've been trying to do, any adjustments they've made on the fly have worked for them. I do expect to see them to continue to push forward, continue to push for that third goal. So right now, really, it's a matter of which adjustments can the Torrent make that'll help them prove successful, and what can the Dutch Lions do to make sure that they continue to lead this game. My name is Simon Provan. Thanks again for joining us here on this broadcast. We are at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, as FC Milwaukee Torrent host Chicago Dutch Lions. We're going to take a small break here, and when we come back, we'll be ready for the second half kickoff. Welcome back to FC Milwaukee Torrent hosting Chicago Dutch Lions. Score is 2-1 in favor of Chicago. And Chicago applying pressure once again very quickly. But Milwaukee winning this ball back. Down the line for Milwaukee. Number 17 plays it in and over the end line. So both Chicago and Milwaukee coming out very hungry, which if you're a Chicago Dutch Lions fan, you'd certainly like to see them get perhaps an insurance goal. If you're a Torrent fan, obviously you want to see an equalizer, and the quicker Milwaukee gets that, I think you'll see that this game may turn around a bit. Opportunity here for Milwaukee. Ball played in the middle of the box. Saver, shot, which is saved by Fisher. Well, this is better right away from Milwaukee as we just completed the first minute of the second half. Chicago now coming to their attacking third. Swenson turned around a bit. Ball played in. Hits the crossbar. Almost a goal. Very unusual to see Kelly Swenson get turned around in any play. And as you look at her, head down, saying a few words to herself. Give credit, though, to Catherine Steffens for that play against Swenson. I don't expect to see that very often from Swenson. Ellie Anderson plays this out to Steffens. Nice work there by Kloiber to make that a throw-in rather than another corner kick for Chicago. Shock for Milwaukee, sends it out of the box momentarily. Now farther up the pitch, the ball goes. Ball played into the Milwaukee box. Chicago box, my apologies. Wearing a few different hats here at this moment, which is why I went silent there for a bit. But thanks for staying with us, folks, as you're watching this stream from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Very active Steffens for Chicago, but this ball does turn back over to the Torrent. Yes, playing this outside. Ball sent into the box. Opportunity for Milwaukee. Goal! Bonnie Lacey with the header to equalize for the Torrent in the 50th minute. Beautiful ball crossed in, bounced off the carpet, where Lacey was able to get her forehead on that ball and send it into the back of the Chicago Dutch Lions net to bring things even. 2-2 at Hart Park. Lacey, usually a defender, stepping all the way from the back. Doing a great job making sure she put that one in the back of the net. Well, this will certainly make for an interesting second half as we just tick on over to the 51st minute. McClenathan, goalkeeper for Milwaukee, sends this back out to Eckert. Eckert with a nice turn into the middle of the field. Lacey, your goal scorer, plays it up to Eckert. And just for clarification, Lacey is playing on the back line for Milwaukee, but finding a little bit of freedom, being able to move up as she puts pressure here on Hasty. Ball played all the way back to Fisher. Milwaukee Torrent in their black kits. Chicago Dutch Lions in white. Foul called against Chicago. Kelly Swenson, who had that beautiful assist in the first half, stepping over this ball for Milwaukee. Ball sent in. Headed out for Chicago. Foul against Milwaukee. Chicago now with the ball. Lucilla standing over the ball for Chicago, asking for her 10 yards. And after she gets it, she plays this ball up to Anderson. Almost a tale of two halves here, at least early going on in the second half. The pressure that we saw Chicago in the first half is now being applied by Milwaukee to that Chicago back line. And, of course, paying off in a big way with Milwaukee getting their second goal. On the far side of the field now. Ball played up to the middle. Anderson for Chicago. Ball played forward. Swenson and Steffens in a foot race. Steffens in the Milwaukee box. Takes the shot. McClenathan there to grab it out of the air. Point blank shot, but well done by the Milwaukee goalkeeper. Steffens, as a striker, will of course want that one back. But play continues as Milwaukee now looking to transition here. Nice step by Beckers. Beckers not able to send this one in, but nevertheless, it is still won by Twombly, who sends it towards the Chicago goal, where Fisher grabs it out of the air. You can see with Milwaukee's offense applying that pressure, Chicago's playing a little bit quicker from the back, forcing some errors on themselves. And, of course, just as I say that, Chicago now almost in the Milwaukee box. Shot on goal. McClenathan knocks that over the crossbar. Well done, as that shot from Alexa Quaranta was well placed. I don't think Milwaukee was expecting a shot from that distance. And Quaranta keeping Fisher, sorry, my apologies, McClenathan honest. And I'd usually say on her toes, but definitely had to go off her toes to get up and push that one over the crossbar. Corner now for Chicago. Ball headed out. As Beckers with the header. Eckert plays this ball forward. Well, we do have an update from the WPSL. Green Bay Glory getting their first win on the year, 2-1 over Milwaukee Bavarian, which makes this game that much more critical for FC Milwaukee Torrent. That is a shock result if I've ever seen one, my friends. Again, taking a look at the WPSL standings here in the Lake Michigan Conference. Bavarians on 15 points now after 9 games. Torrent, if they were to win this, would move up to 17 points, going back into second place. And that would give them a tie for first place with Chicago Red Stars. Red Stars with a game in hand. Green Bay Glory, as I said, had not won a game on the season. So to get your first win over a strong team like Milwaukee Bavarian SC, that is quite an accomplishment. And quite a shocking result. Player down on the field for Milwaukee. That is Savers. Yelena Saver on the ground for Milwaukee, one of Milwaukee's leading goal scorers this year, along with Jordan Raleigh. Waiting for a status update on Raleigh. And if Saver can't continue, that would mean Milwaukee would be without their top 2 goal scorers. However, with goals coming tonight from Twombly in the 37th minute, as well as Eckert here in the second half, Milwaukee showing that while it's great to have those leading goal scorers, they can get goals from other players. Now, we do have an update for the Chicago Red Stars reserves Chicago City SC match. That is 0-0 in the 13th minute of play. Of course, FC Milwaukee Torrent, the organization and the fans, polling for Chicago City SC tonight. Certainly don't want to see a Red Stars win against Chicago City. Ball in the box now for Dutch Lions. A draw would be okay, as that would put the Red Stars reserves on 18 points. And if the Torrent were to win tonight, that would give them 17. And, of course, that would make the game on the 18th, that de facto championship game, here at Hart Park on, again, July 18th at 7 p.m. Actually, let me double-check that time for you, as I'd hate you to show up late to Hart Park. And I'm glad I did double-check. That is actually a 3 p.m. game on July 18th here at Hart Park against Chicago Red Stars reserves. Substitutions happening for both teams. Coming off for Chicago Dutch Lions is Audrey Steffens. And we'll get confirmation of who it was that went on in just a second. Player on the ball, Abby Schwartz, is the player who came on for the Dutch Lions. Kenzie Balsaric on the field for the Torrent as well. Throwing for the Dutch Lions, taking their time here, wanting to get things right, but Milwaukee's defense also gets things right. Thankfully, Savers is okay, as obviously she is back up on her feet. Nice strong play here from the Milwaukee defense. Ball sent forward. Twombly with a touch. Ball out of bounds for a Milwaukee throw. Twombly showing her speed on that run as she just touched it around the Dutch Lions player. And we'll see if Milwaukee can do anything here as Bonnie Lacey takes the throw-in for the Torrent. 62nd minute of play. Your score is 2-2. Ball back to Yass. McWilliams looking to send this in. Twombly heads it just a bit too far, as Beckers is not able to reach that ball. Throwing for Chicago. Hasty with the throw. Steffens. Hasty once again on the ball. Plays this one back. Milwaukee just trying to find some room to work this ball around. But both teams pinning each other on this near side of the field. Again, ball stays on this near side. Chicago in possession. Hasty. Back to her left back. Nice cut to the right. Ball sent in. Milwaukee perhaps with an opportunity. And no. Well, the FC Milwaukee Torrent men's team doing well in Iowa. That game officially called off in the 63rd minute, but it will be considered a full game as FC Milwaukee Torrent men beat Union Dubuque FC 5-0, giving them a perfect record thus far in the NISA Independent Cup Midwest region. Med City FC played Union Dubuque on July 11th. Med City FC against NPSL team out of the north. Well, they beat Union Dubuque FC 2-1 at Rochester Regional Stadium in Minnesota. Union Dubuque FC playing out of the Midwest Premier League. Not the best of seasons for them as they are in 10th place out of 12 teams in their division. And, of course, FC Milwaukee Torrent men winning against Chicago House AC 2-0 here at Hart Park back on July 9th. Big win for them as they have already achieved a championship trophy by winning the Great Lakes Conference in the Midwest region in the NPSL. And now they look to possibly lift the Midwest region NISA Independent Cup. Again, they do have that big match against Med City FC on July 27th here at Hart Park. They win or draw that match. If they draw, it'll come down to goal differential from what I understand. But if they win, that's a perfect record for them in the NISA Independent Cup, and that would be their second trophy on the year. But enough about the men. We're here to talk about the women's game tonight as we are at Hart Park in a game that is currently 2-2, FC Milwaukee Torrent hosting Chicago Dutch Lions FC. Steffens on the right side, eventually called offside by the AR on the far side. Torrent look like they may be making yet another substitution. Head coach Andy Davi giving some final instructions. To Maulik. So Riley Maulik will be coming on the field for Milwaukee at the next stoppage. And that stoppage is right now. We'll see who Maulik comes in for. Shirt on the back says Monticello, but I promise you that is Maulik. Giving a break to Elena Eckert. Eckert, your goal scorer here in the second half, scoring the equalizer for Milwaukee. She also has been all over the field as well. My apologies, Eckert was not the goal scorer. That was Bonnie Lacey. Ball back to Fisher. Ball in the box. Now at the top, Chicago looking for a quick transition. Steffens on the ball for the Dutch Lions. Kelly Swenson gets a foot in. Still on the ball is Kelly Swenson as she gets past another player. Well, was passed momentarily, but caught up. Passes it back to Yass. Saver in the middle, screaming for the ball. Yass just did not see her. But from up here, you could easily see Saver wide open in the middle, wanting that ball. Space in front of her. What possibly could have been. Instead, it is a goal kick for the Dutch Lions. Again, Dutch Lions, an expansion team in the WPSL this year. Beautifully played ball here. But far side AR lifts his flag. That is going to be a very close one. Swenson on the ball for Milwaukee. Hasty for the Dutch Lions. Wargo, one of the goal scorers for Chicago tonight, sends this to the far side. Swenson steps forward again, plays this to Saver. Off the ball run here. Not picked up as Chicago wins the ball back from Milwaukee. Chicago with a very short throw. Looks like Steffens in the corner against Kloiberg and Maulik. Throwing for Chicago. Swenson winning that ball. It goes out of bounds for a corner kick for the Dutch Lions. A lot of corners in this game for both teams. We'll see if one of them can take advantage of it. Short corner for Chicago. Nice work there by the forward from Chicago. But eventually, the Torrent do step up and send the ball out of bounds. Good matchup between Swenson and Steffens, as we've seen those two battling ever since the start of the second half. Steffens on the ball, plays it back. Anderson, ball goes out of bounds. Substitutions happening here for the Dutch Lions. Coming on the field, Alexa Juarez. Juarez, the goal scorer against the Red Stars in their last match, which was a 1-1 draw. Coming back on, Sophia Sinise, number 27. Taking a break for the Dutch Lions. Number 15. MJ Lasilla. Katie Swenson will be returning for Milwaukee as well at the next stoppage. Again, she is the sister of Kelly Swenson. And both Swenson's sisters, very strong players for FC Milwaukee Torrent. Speaking of Swenson, this is Kelly on the ball. She sends this forward. Ball ends up at the feet of Bonnie Lacey. Lacey with a nice step over. Tries to send it forward. Instead, it goes off of Chesney Wargo for a throw-in for Milwaukee. Now Katie Swenson does re-enter the game as Bonnie Lacey takes a break after scoring that goal in the 49th minute. 73rd minute of play at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Still a very humid night, but thankfully we have not seen the rain return. Kevin O'Connor, our amateur weatherman, looking at the weather apps, telling us it looks like we'll be okay till the end of the match without that rain. Hasty on the ball for Chicago. Plays this forward. Juarez. Ball pushed forward. Saver on the ball. Looks to play this forward, and she does. Twombly in a foot race. Can she get to it? Yes, she can. Now waiting for help. She turns into the box. On her left foot. Shot! Nice save by Fisher as she stretches out her body. Gets both hands on it. But Moloch still on the ball for Milwaukee. Tries to play it backwards. Chicago instead will get control, but just for a moment as the ball is back at Kelly Swenson's feet. A little bit of back and forth here now on the Hart Park pitch. Well, Twombly got the player turned, put the ball on her left foot. Fisher up for it as she needed every bit of her body to reach that ball, pushing it to the right side of her goal. So close to Milwaukee going up, but instead we remain at twos for both sides. Three substitutions for Milwaukee Torrent. Making sure to give you all the information at once here as we get clarification of who's coming on and who's coming off. Ball played in the box. We'll get back to those substitutions. Coming onto the field, Liz Beckers, forward for Milwaukee. Once again playing this first ball up in the air in the Milwaukee box. Beckers, who just came on the field, gets a touch. Not as good of one as she would have liked, but she does apply the pressure. as Chicago Dutch Lions elect to keep playing this ball back, looking to reset themselves and find some holes. But instead, Katie Swenson steps up. Once again, a good bit of back and forth from both teams, trying to force each other into errors. But Milwaukee much better in their defensive third, as we see there as well, stepping forward, winning the ball. And ball sent across the field. Toscano had passed the ball just previously to Saver was also one of those substitutions that came on. Elena Eckert returned to the game as well. Coming off the field was Kat Smereka, Elsie Twombly, and Riley Maulick. Ball played to Swenson, who plays it all the way back to McLenithan, as Swenson was under heavy pressure from Jenna Lundgren. Abby Hillman coming back onto the field for the Dutch Lions. Hillman with that critical assist in the 44th minute of play on Chicago's second goal. Chelsea Wargo, who got that pass from Hillman in the 44th minute to score Chicago's second goal, taking a break for the Dutch Lions. Milwaukee in the box with the shot. Ball goes across the goal and just goes over the end line. Ball in the corner. Played back to Fisher. Well, FC Milwaukee Torrent looking much better as this game goes on. Dutch Lions having most of the run of play, but Torrent up to the task thus far defensively and have had a couple of looks on goal offensively. Ball for Toscano. Toscano playing this back into the middle. Now out to McWilliams. Ball sent in the box. Dutch Lions having everybody back but one player. Whereas Torrent, Kelly Swenson sends this ball in. Can Toscano get to it? No, she can't. Offside flag up anyway. Dutch Lion ball. Just a quick update on the Chicago City SC and Chicago Red Stars reserve game. Chicago Red Stars up 1-0 in what looks to be the 36th minute. Dutch Lions applying pressure here. Ball in the box. Katie Swenson sends it out. Nice defensive play as Juarez was looking to challenge for a goal. Nice strong play in the middle of the field by the Dutch Lions. Juarez loves having the ball at her feet. Passes that to the top of the box where Milwaukee's able to collect it. Toscani not able to do what she wants with that ball, but Katie Swenson steps in, wins the ball for just a moment. And now a substitution here for both teams as Twombly returns to the field, as does Catherine Steffens for Dutch City Lions. Natalie Ass will take a break for FC Milwaukee Torrent, and Jenna Lundgren for Dutch Lions. Steffens just coming on the field. Ball at her feet, plays it in the middle. Chance for Chicago! McClenathan with a great save, pushing that ball just to the outside of her post. Heads up play by the Milwaukee goalkeeper to keep this one even. 83rd, almost 84th minute of play as the Dutch Lions have an opportunity here off of a corner kick. Ball played in, headed, and over the goal for a Milwaukee goal kick. Update on that score. Red Stars against City. 2-0 Chicago Red Stars. That gives them plus 20 in goal differential on the year thus far. Milwaukee does need one more goal this game, at least, to make it 3-2. Whatever the case, whatever the score may be, they essentially need all 3 points. And we are getting clarification on what the tiebreaker rules are in the WPSL. A win tonight gives the Red Stars 20 points. Milwaukee now with an opportunity. Twombly on the ball. Left-footed shot. Fisher there to make that save. Juarez stepped into that play, was Balseric. Schwartz. Ball goes out of bounds after Katie Swenson gets a foot in once again. Toscano. Very busy here in the near corner. Toscano looks to send that forward. Instead, it does go off of the Dutch Lions player for a Milwaukee throw. Time is getting critical as we are in the 86th minute of play. Juarez bringing this into the Milwaukee box. No foul called, and that is a goal kick. Red Stars score another goal, making that game 3-0. Nice ball played by Toscano. Eckert looking to try to move this ball forward, plays it too far for herself, goes into the hands of Fisher for the Dutch Lions. Easy foul called right in front of the referee. As we continue to watch the clock here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, score remains 2-2. FC Milwaukee Torrent hosting Chicago Dutch Lions. Dutch Lions, a growing club in Chicago. Of course, now in the WPSL with their women's team, looking to have a men's team next year. Not only a club growing in Chicago, but across the country. And growing in confidence they are here at Hart Park. No offside on this one. Opportunity for Milwaukee! No, just wide of the goal. Beckers had a one-on-one opportunity against Fisher. Everybody in the stands rising to their feet for that one. Unfortunately, hits the side of the net, not the back of the net. Now in the 89th minute. Hasty with the throw for the Dutch Lions. Ball still in bounds. Nice job by Toscano. Twombly in a foot race. Fisher able to send that ball long. Back to the Milwaukee defense. Swenson. McClenathan. Referee deemed that was not a pass back, and now he does. Yes, this will be an indirect kick for Chicago Dutch Lions as Swenson sent that ball back to McClenathan, and instead of McClenathan just using her foot for that, instead, she picked the ball up. That is an illegal back pass. A very dangerous setup here for the Chicago Dutch Lions here in the 90th minute of play. Looking for an indication of stoppage time, see if we can catch it this time, as we await the call from the fourth official. Juarez standing over this ball for the Dutch Lions. I believe that is Steffens standing right in front of the ball with the touch. Juarez with the shot. The wall does its job for Milwaukee as it came running out as soon as that ball was touched. We are now officially in stoppage time. 2 minutes is what it looks like the fourth official has indicated to both head coaches. And we are in that stoppage time. We haven't gotten clarification on what the first tiebreaker is in the WPSL. If it is indeed head-to-head, that would give Milwaukee an opportunity if they can pull out a goal in the last 90 seconds of this game. If they cannot, and the Red Stars go on to win that game against Chicago City, which it looks like they will, then it would be all for naught tonight for the Torrent. Sever with some nice foot play there. Toscano on the ball for Milwaukee. Sending this one too far as Fisher will get a hold of that one for Dutch Lions. Dutch Lions also not content to walk out of here with just a point. They're looking for 3 points as well. This ball played up to Steffens. Goes too far for her. Throwing now for Milwaukee. Kloiber with the throw, looking for an open Torrent player. Can't find any. Ball sent back to the Dutch Lions. Easy offside call by the AR. And Milwaukee will want to move quickly, as we've got about 20 seconds left of stoppage time as indicated by the fourth official. Ball played up, headed back to the direction of the Milwaukee defense. Ball sent forward. Swenson to Kloiber. Kloiber not able to win that ball. Now another throw for Milwaukee. Everybody's going to be looking at the center referee to see if he'll give Milwaukee one last opportunity. Instead, that is it. Your final score here tonight at Hart Park, which will be a great disappointment to FC Milwaukee Torrent. 2-2. FC Milwaukee Torrent officially, well, I shouldn't say officially, but how things are looking in the Red Stars Chicago City game, it does not look like FC Milwaukee Torrent will be able to make a push for first place. Should the Red Stars end up winning that game, that'll give them 20 points, and Milwaukee Torrent at 15 points thus far, which would mean in the final game of the season, the Torrent would not be able to catch Chicago Red Stars for that lone playoff berth. Well, as I said, the score ends here. The game ends here with a final score of 2-2, with Dutch Lions and FC Milwaukee Torrent grabbing a share of the spoils. Of course, the spoils not large enough for the Torrent to make that playoff push. We'll come back with some final thoughts after this break, but thanks for joining us here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Join us for our post-game analysis here on 11sports.com. Welcome back to FC Milwaukee Torrent Soccer here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Well, a disappointing result for FC Milwaukee Torrent, as had they won this game tonight, they could have been challenging for the title in the Great Lakes Conference here in the WPSL. Unfortunately, that won't happen, as FC Milwaukee Torrent ties Chicago Dutch City Lions 2-2. Goals in the first half, 3 of them. Abby Schwartz got things started for Chicago Dutch Lions with a nice silky placing the ball in the back of the net off of a bounce. But Elsie Twombly made things interesting in the first half as she got a 37th minute goal with her head off of a beautifully played Kelly Swenson ball from over midfield. But just before the teams went into the locker room, Wargo got a wonderful assist from Hillman in the 44th minute. Wargo putting the Dutch Lions up 2-1. Then on the other side of the half, in the 49th minute, Bonnie Lacey with another header for FC Milwaukee Torrent. She put the ball in the back of the net, and the Torrent looked like they were really pressing and may be able to pull out a victory tonight. But as fate would have it, that would be the only goal in the second half, and that is how things would finish up. Again, 2-2 at Hart Park. Disappointing for FC Milwaukee as they are at now 15 points on the season, tied for second with Milwaukee Bavarian SC. Officially in third, as if you're looking at head-to-head, the Bavarians do have that win over